and welcome to the Rankin Report for Sunday, October 24th, 2021. This is part 3 of our new series, Why We Fight. And today's topic is, because we are waking up. From the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11, and do this, understanding the present time. The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. Under our system, the people of the United States are the temporal, or earthly, source of political power. If you recall from the Declaration, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And the people, ideally, are guided and their passions restrained by their faith. In colonial times, leading up to the Revolution, so many pastors preached independence from Great Britain that they were referred to by British generals as the, quote, Black Robe Regiment, unquote. It was not a compliment, but it was a term used much as we would use the phrase fifth column today. And even past the midpoint of the 20th century, the church retained its influence on American culture as revivals periodically swept the nation, even in the midst of political and world crises. However, for about a couple of generations now, much of the church in America has been asleep at its post, with believers following its lead. Lulled by the Pharisees' old song of materialism as evidence of divine favor, forgetting that God blesses people in order to be a blessing to others, opting for earthly political power as a shortcut for doing the work of the kingdom, many believers instead thought by voting in the right people, writing a check, and imitating worldly environments to feed a kind of McDonald's mentality regarding attendance, the offering plate, and maybe salvations, all that would be enough to do the work of the Lord. The late Keith Green, the great Christian songwriter, once said, "God doesn't cash out-of-state checks in heaven. He needs you." Well, we found out differently. People who ran for office promising to uphold traditional values either outright lied to us or were perhaps sincere but corrupted by the swamp. We depended on politics to bring in the kingdom, only to find politics turned on us and shut churches down during the COVID crisis. Worldly entertainments substituted for true worship got our churches and their people more worldly problems. Seminaries cranked out pastors and preachers that don't even believe Jesus is God, or that false religions are just as good at getting you into heaven. And denominations with such pastors caved to the woke, those that cling to abominations, or to socialists outright trying to use American freedoms to destroy America. But believers are waking up, and you see this more and more as the days go on. The first step was to cry out to the Lord to stop Hillary Clinton from becoming president, because she outright said, "Hey, you guys need to change your ways here, and you need to back off of your beliefs some." That got people's attention, and God responded to their cry. A man was brought into office who actually worked for the Lord and the people. And I believe one of the key things with the presidency of Donald Trump was to give people an idea of what conditions in this country could be like. I was not planning to vote for him either. In fact, I voted for Ted Cruz in the primary of 2016. Donald Trump got the nomination and then the election, but then he started to do something unusual. He started to do what he said he would do, unlike most politicians you run into. Then God began to systematically expose the evil in high places in order to call his church into action. It started during the Trump presidency, and it's continuing even now. And believers are responding with prayer and fasting and with action. People are challenging the results of elections. They're challenging politicians, they're challenging dead churches, they're challenging those in any position of authority or power. Look at what's happening in the Loudoun County Public Schools in Virginia. Parents are filling the meetings, giving the school board such a hard time over covered-up sexual assaults in the schools and the teaching of critical race theory that the National Association of School Boards asked the government to investigate objecting parents. Now, I understand the NASB has reportedly since apologized for that letter, but I can't help but wonder if the apology is for the wording of that letter or because they got caught. More believers need to get into the fight. We do not need to be like the men of Succoth and Peniel, demanding to see the fight already won before they would join with Gideon's army. Hey, do you have the hands of these two kings? Or do you have their shields or their heads? You can find this in Judges chapter 8, verses 15 to 17. The Lord will win this battle for himself and for his purposes for America. But he will also raise up and strongly support those who were all in for him, and will weed out those in the church who sided with his enemies. God will put in their place those whose hearts belong to him to prepare the church for the great end-time harvest that is approaching. Time for sleeping is over, and the hour of playing church is long past. People are going to become pastors, priests, ministers, whatever, not because it looks cool. Let's be honest, when has it ever really looked cool? Or not to get worldly applause. But they're going to do this because their heart is with God, and they want to see his kingdom advance. Playing church just doesn't cut it anymore. It's time to put on his armor and stand for the fight. That's the Rankin Report for Sunday, October 24th, 2021. If you like the series or you like these videos, please don't forget to click the like button or subscribe. God bless you. Have a great day.